This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started. Hello and welcome, dear listeners and viewers, once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Fill me and Perich.
That's the guy. How are you doing, Philip?
Good.
So good to see you again.
How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was quite good. We had the Popeyes brand deep-fried turkey. And we had green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, stovetop stuffing. Nice. The works. 6 kinds of pie. It was a true Esser family Thanksgiving, even though it was just the 4 of us Essers, so it was lovely. How was Thanksgiving in the Perich house?
Oh, good. Just stayed home and relaxed. Did some Christmas decorating.
Okay. And did you guys make food, or did you just say we are not thankful for anything?
I mean, we kind of ordered out.
Ordered out? Okay.
Yeah, nobody felt like cooking, and just the 3 of us. Weird.
Yeah, I did that a few years ago. We actually got Popeyes fried chicken for Thanksgiving, and you know what? It was good. It was very good, and we enjoyed it. And this year we did Popeyes Cajun turkey. So,
ooh, Popeyes
is our theme.
I didn't even know they did turkey.
Yeah, they do. You buy the fully cooked turkey. They give you the basic instructions. This was my first time really doing it wasn't my first time doing a whole bird. I've done whole birds before. But anyway, it went well. It was a...
Lilith, you can jump on. You can jump on whenever you want, Lilith Hellfire.
Yeah, he's not cheating. This is my show, Lilith. Okay, sorry. I think we're doing your show tomorrow. And we're going to do my show tonight at its usual, on its usual day, not at its usual time. Sorry, Lilith. Now she's mad. I've angered her again.
She's drunk. She won't remember this by morning.
Oh, don't assume that. She has excellent drunken recall. Anyway, getting back to the point at hand. So, one of the things I did over the weekend, that I actually did today, is I actually checked out some of the Disney Plus fare that we have available, including the new 616 series, which is a documentary series based on, different aspects of how Marvel has influenced culture.
Oh, I mean, I've heard about it. I keep meaning to check that out, so it was good. I'm sure it is, but...
It was very enjoyable. One thing I will say about it, so the first one I watched, which is, I do recommend watching it, and I think it was, Paul Scheer does an episode. And the reason I went for it is it was a build as Paul Scheer seeks out, forgotten parts of the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. Which I thought, that sounds interesting. And it opened up with this idea, and it seemed like he was just looking at all of the different types of characters who did not take off. And so I'm waiting for someone to mention Boulder, but, no one does, so little tear. But beyond that, he focuses on a short-lived comic called Brute Force, which was essentially, at the time that Marvel was making toy adaptations, so there were a lot of, there were toy companies like Hasbro for their Transformers and G.I. Joe and several others coming to them saying, hey, we want you to create some lore, write up a comic book adaptation for us to help us sell our toys. And the idea came to them, well, why don't we create these characters, brute force, if you will, who would be very toy. They would lend themselves to being toys. We'll make a story around them, and we will put them out there. And And so they created these characters, and they are essentially cybernetically enhanced animals that are fighting it's kind of a Captain Planet kind of thing, where they're fighting an evil corporation who has his own evil cybernetically controlled animals.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, it had 4 issues. If you saw it, you know it. It was actually quite an interesting little thing. The only problem I have with it is that Paul Scheer has this delivery style. We're never quite sure, is he honestly enthused by this crazy concept, or is he just sort of ironically mocking it like a hipster? And if you can get past that, because when he speaks with people, he talks to the actual people who worked on it, actual creators who actually did, including the guy who did the original animation designs that he took to Marvel. And, they are very genuine, and, it's interesting that the way that it plays out. I would like to feel that he does have an honest love of it. He plays into the absurdity of any kind of comic book creation process, I'm guessing. But there are moments where you're like, are you just making fun of this? And that's a little frustrating. But anyway, it actually is very cool because he takes you into the process of how it was created and how he wants to reboot it, sell it to Marvel for a reboot. Or not sell it to Marvel, but put it towards Disney Plus as content for Disney Plus, this cartoon reboot, and he actually gets a 2-minute opener for this, which is actually really great. It actually is a really great thing. I mean, I think he leaned too much into the violence of adult animation. So it's almost kind of Venture Brothers-ian in that sense. Mm-hmm. Like the first image he gets, it's very, very Disney XD kind of design, but he felt that was too child-friendly. He wanted something that was a little darker. But the one they actually create is a nice mix, and honestly, I want to see it now. After you watch it, I will bet you will say, you know what? I actually kind of want to see Brute Force brought back on Disney Plus. Just make 8 episodes. Let's get a story arc. Let's see where it goes. And they basically now are eco-terrorists, and this one S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's job is to track them down and bring them in alive. So, because he is very good at making puns. So and it goes well. They have a want kind of ending for it. But honestly, I think that anyone who sees this is going to feel kind of positive about it and might say, you know what, I would like to see this. This looks like something Charlie Esser and thereby me might enjoy. So that was 616. Then they go into the cosplayers, which is also a lot of fun if you're into the cosplay genre. They interview some notable cosplayers. They discuss cosplay. Though in this one, you really get this Marvel-centric universe thing, mm-hmm. where they very much want to basically say, yes, New York City Comic-Con, that's the Marvel Comic-Con. Because Marvel is based in New York City. As if DC isn't also based in New York City, although I guess they're not anymore. So Marvel kind of has that thing. But yeah, so they really want to play up this idea that, Marvel is the entity at New York City Comic Con. But, it was neat, and they have all these people that have made these great design costumes, and they come in. They have people, who are, actual, toy and fashion designers who are also cosplayers. It's really nice. There's a Moon Knight cosplay in it by a young lady, and they go into the character of Mark Spector, and about representation for people with mental disorders in Marvel Comics. So it was very nice, and I'm looking forward to watching more episodes. I'm looking forward to doing more with the series because it actually seems like it has a lot of interesting potential. So that's cool. The other thing I watched on Disney Plus today, of course, was the new episode of The Mandalorian.
Oh, yes. The child gets a name.
The child gets a name, which I've already forgotten, because he'll always be Yiddle to me.
Grogu, and I looked it up on online to see how you spell it. Grogu. Grogu.
Just like it sounds. Yep. Yes. Grogu, which actually just sounds like a sound he might have been saying the whole time.
Exactly.
He's like, Grogu, Grogu. My name is Grogu, you schmuck. But yes, it was nice. I don't know how spoiler we want to get with this. Because of course tonight after this show, Maz and I are recording the first episodes of Full Stream Ahead with The Mandalorian Season 2 with video.
Ooh, tonight.
Tonight. You actually get to see that, yes, in fact, Maz is my skinny rich friend. You'll actually see how amazingly handsome he is as a person. So
that sexy beast. That's right.
He is, man. I'm sorry,
All right.
That little floating head you give him, that doesn't do him justice. You see this man. He's a man to be seen. That's all I'm saying. Takes good care of himself, unlike myself. But yeah, so in this one, we finally get the follow-up after the last episode, where he is going to go to this planet to find what he believes is the last remaining Jedi.
Yes.
Although I think, which goes back to something we see in the night episode tonight, the first episode, where Maz and I will be reviewing, which I believe is called The Marshal, is the first episode of the second season that Maz and I are reviewing tonight, and it'll be showing up in your feeds in I think 3 weeks,
something like that. Yeah, because episode 6 of The Boys went up today. So yeah, like 3 weeks.
We have 7 and 8, and then we'll have the next couple of Mandalorians coming in down the pipe. But so and in that one. So spoilers for that episode. He believes he's going to Tatooine in that one to find a Mandalorian. Turns out he sort of does not, but maybe he did. That's the mystery at the end of that episode. But in this one, he does. Well, if you've been watching the show, you know that he is looking for Ahsoka Tano.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds Ahsoka Tano. Although, as Tristan pointed out, Ahsoka Tano is not actually a Jedi.
Ooh.
She actually rejected both the Jedi and the Sith. Ahsoka Tano. Sorry, Ahsoka Tano. I always tell Tristan to jump in and join in. He's got headphones. He could do it. But
she's from the Clone Wars, right?
No, yeah, she's from the Clone Wars. Then she got thrown into the Rebels because she went through a time jump. Wound up in the Rebels universe. We also get the Grand Admiral Thrawn, is it? Yes, he gets a shout out in this episode. So there is a lot that goes on here. We also get what I think is one of the most telling aspects of it is, so there's a scene in here that greatly reminds you of a scene we saw in the original Phantom Menace, when Yoda says, "I sense much fear, and you cannot be trained because of it."
Yeah.
And this actually brought me back to something I recently heard about the Phantom Menace, which is the song "The Duel of the Fates," as Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul are battling, is actually supposed to represent the fact that this is for the fate of Anakin Skywalker, that if Qui-Gon Jinn does win, if he does defeat Darth Maul, if he survives, so even if he doesn't defeat Darth Maul, if he merely survives, then he would be the one who was training Anakin.
Yes.
And he would have been able to raise him in the Force, and likely would have brought his mother back to him, gone back and gotten his mother, so that he wouldn't be filled with such fear.
Ooh, there you go.
Because, and that comes into this, and this idea that, when that Grogu,
Grogu, yeah.
Grogu, has experienced much fear. We also find out that in his 50 years, he actually was one of the younglings at the temple at the time of the massacre and got out, which actually suggests that maybe more younglings got out.
Maybe. Although, you know what? I was reading, I think it was it Newsarama today. They had an article. Again, I don't know if this is true or not, but they were saying since the child, Grogu is 50, that he was born the same year as Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
So were those, I was going to say, was he the one supposed to bring balance to the Force, or were these two like...
Well, I have said that he is the one who will bring balance. Yeah. This is the thing about prophecies and the duel of the fates.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that someone may bring balance to the Force. They may have been born under the star sign. It's like what they always say about Neville Longbottom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, maybe he was the chosen one. No, it was always Harry. But really, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say Harry does fall. Let's say this doesn't work out. That just means the fate is wrong? It's like, no. That means that the path of the fate is not what you think the prophecy means. And this is sort of what I've always said, is like the actual act of bringing balance to the Force. The actual way you destroy the Sith isn't with the stabby stab. It's with the talky talk.
Yes.
It's when you use your words. When you say, I understand you're angry. I understand you have fear. We should talk about that. Let's talk about why you're so angry. Why are you so mad, man? Why can't you be like Lebowski? Just let it be, man. Let it go. I'm trying to remember where I heard that some character was basically Lebowski before Lebowski. I actually think it was on the 616 in the 616 series. And also in that they also bring up US-1, the space trucker. Well, eventually the space trucker. He actually does come back. Those who forget about him, he came back in the John Byrne She-Hulk run when She-Hulk went off world for a while and was hanging out with US-1. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in this, and there is a real possibility that, maybe they are going to be rewriting a lot of what we think Jedi history is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is an interesting, and I do wonder if we're going to get a Mark Hamill cameo in this.
Maybe.
Because at the end of this episode, there's this talk about, he needs, or really what she says is, Yiddle, Grogu, has to make his own choice. And here's how he can make his choice to reach out. And I'm sorry?
Well, I was going to say, wouldn't that be a nice little full circle story? Yoda trained Luke, and now Luke is going to train Grogu.
I mean, possibly. Although then someone actually suggested, I was reading that means that, Kylo Ren kills Grogu. It's like, this is not his first Jedi youngling massacre he avoided.
Exactly.
Please, man, you guys trying to kill younglings all the time. What is with that? It is crazy.
Yeah, he'll eat you like an egg.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I did like I like the fact that, it also was interesting because it suggested that the Force use, my theory originally in this was that the Force use was maybe something natural to Yoda's people. And we still don't have evidence that it's not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know they said he went through some training. Maybe it comes easier to their species.
Well, like I said, I think one of the things about it is just this idea that, so for example, when we get that Grogu, I am Grogu.
Remember, he's a baby. Goo. Grogu.
Well, yeah. Well, but that's the thing. He's not.
I know. Well,
he's 50 years old, and as I've said, he's becoming much more vocal in this.
Yeah.
And what you really get in this is that, no, he actually, for years, had been at the Jedi Temple training. And what it is he's probably been training at the Jedi Temple in infancy. He may well be Yoda's child with Yaddle, those two got busy at the temple one night, and as happens, you get a little frog eater, and that is, and so he may have been raised, kind of like, the Dalai Lama, kind of a situation where he was raised in the temple to be that, which also may have been why Yoda wasn't too keen on the Anakin prophecy, because he's like, no. Have you met my kid? Have you met my kid, Grogu? That kid, he's a natural. But it comes into this idea that, what Anakin needed and what Grogu needed was a connection with someone he trusted. He needed to feel safe and protected while he was training, which is why I actually think, I think that, there was, the Jedi, they kidnapped these children, they raised them in the temple. I say, but that doesn't mean that they don't see their parents, That doesn't mean that they don't, it's like, we only know Anakin's situation because Anakin was being trained by Obi-Wan, who is not good at his job. Hmm. Yes, Tristan. Okay, I'll deal with the mouse in the trap in a little bit. Okay, yeah, we have a mouse in the trap. It's okay, buddy. I know. Don't worry about it, buddy. We'll deal with it. Anyway, where was it? Yeah, but, what was I saying? It's okay, yes. I would have figured it out on my own in a few minutes, so it's not the end of the world, buddy.
Grogu.
Grogu at the temple when the walls fell. Okay.
I was gonna say, I'll give you a second to order your thoughts. I didn't watch like Clone Wars or Rebels or anything, so I wasn't familiar with that Osaka character or whatever her name. But yeah, I mean, she's that actress. She's always kicking butt.
Oh yeah.
Rosario Dawson is always the best. Yeah.
Yes, she is fantastic in it. But so that's what I believe I was saying was that we shouldn't assume that the younglings at the temple don't have contact with their parents. We only know that Anakin didn't because Obi-Wan is bad at his job. Obi-Wan is a what's what I'm looking for? Pathological liar.
Oh.
No, Yoda will train you the way that the way he trained me. It's like, Yoda didn't train you. I mean, you hung out with Yoda as an adult years later, but you weren't trained by Yoda.
Yeah, but
he's trying to sell his. He's trying to raise his stock because he's barely even a Jedi.
But wasn't Anakin's mother like dirt poor too? So I don't know if she had the means to communicate off planet either.
No, but they could have brought her to Coruscant.
That's true. This
is the freaking chosen one. What, we can't put his mom up in a little apartment? Maybe she get a job at that diner they go to.
True.
People need. There's clearly waitresses and cooks, because not all wait staff are droids. Some people are wait staff too. So she could have worked a job while her son's going into Jedi school, come home at night, show her what he learned, and made him feel safe. And maybe felt safe in the big city herself, no longer being a slave and whatnot.
Yeah, but then he doesn't go to the dark side. If your mother's there, she's, start talking about this dark side nonsense, man. She smacks you around. Child? I don't think so.
Well, exactly. I would think that she probably could have kept him grounded. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's all these things where there was no reason to forget about Shmi, There was no reason, freaking, Queen Amidala can't, drop a few credits in Wadu's lap to let the mom go and be with this kid who arguably just saved her planet.
Yeah, but, was that part
think about that for a moment. He just saved her planet by pushing random buttons, as Jar Jar would, and actually, because this is pod racing, and he can't say, oh, you know what, I'm going to have your mom come out of Tatooine, and we'll set her up on Coruscant, or we'll set her up on Naboo, and you can be in contact with her because we'll give her Wi-Fi. She can call you. However,
but is that part of like the whole Jedi thing too? Because remember, they weren't supposed to they were like priests. They weren't supposed to marry and stuff. And
yeah, but at the same time, and to bring it into the other show that we did, if you separate a child from their parent, in the boys, they said, but when you take the child away, the child gets mean. Because that's what happened with Homelander.
Yep.
Poor kid. Yeah, I mean, it's a interesting question. I don't know what's the right one. But I do feel that basically we can lay Anakin's turn to the dark side completely at Obi-Wan's feet for his incompetence.
Definitely.
For his decision that he was going to train the boy even though he was supremely unqualified to. And Yoda said, it's not a good idea. And then later he's going to go tell everyone, oh yeah, Yoda trained me. I was trained by Yoda, Just dropping that into conversations.
So Obi-Wan's bad at his job. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just like I'm more interested in the new stuff, but I'd rather see Rosario Dawson's character in a spin-off series than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and, maybe we'll get that. Maybe that's... Although I think, I was a little disappointed that she didn't go with them at the end.
Yeah, but this episode just screamed to me spin-off series.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's like this. I don't think that's the last we've seen of her.
Oh, no.
Much like the last season, he meets his Magnificent Seven, then he brings his Magnificent Seven back together for the final battle, and I think we're going to get that again with this.
Oh yeah,
maybe we'll get some nice Lebowski Luke in there too, so that'll be great because we know that the Lebowski way is the true balance of the Force. Hey, you want to talk some comics?
Sure.
Oh, I thought I was going to say Phil's Comics Corner.
Oh, never mind. This isn't capes. Okay.
Well, I don't know. You do it on this show sometimes, too. Anyway, hey. Maestro, number 4.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this.
Why?
Okay, well, I like the idea that, the Hulk, or that Hercules and the Hulk face off, and Hercules is just totally, which is actually something I appreciate, but it's obviously a suggestion that he has somehow become way more powerful.
I just wonder, is it like opposite with the gods that they get stronger with age?
Well, yeah, for what it's worth, he's apparently the last god on Earth.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like pretty much, omnipotent level god. And they try to explain it away. He's like, oh, the old brute, he would just get madder and that would make him stronger.
Yeah, you got too much of a brain now to get madder and stronger, yeah.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that previously in this, which I did write into the Hulk about this when they were fighting the separated Hulk, who also had a limit, because that's the whole thing of because that's how they know they can defeat him, because Samson says he has a limit. I took all he had, and he didn't get any stronger, and that's how they knew that he wasn't a complete Hulk. And so but by that notion, then Hercules should have been able to beat him up, but he was too busy consuming fried fowl, because he was eating fried chicken when, I believe it's Wonder Man comes to collect him, because they have to all go fight the Hulk. And then I was very happy to see Vapor come back.
I know, I know, because the scene at the end, I remember, when he introduces Ann Darnell, I was like, wait a minute, that name sounds familiar.
Yes. Which also suggests that maybe the other 3 UFOs are out there. And for what it's worth, what he does to her, that is not going to stop her. That is literally like, saying, oh, spread that sand around so Sandman doesn't come back.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, that's a stupid thing. And I didn't like how quickly Hercules went down with that. But again, maybe it's temporary.
Well, did he turn her into glass or like ice? I mean, it looks...
Well, he does something to her to alter her molecular structure and freeze her solid.
Yeah. I was going to say, if that's ice, it's going to melt, and maybe she can eventually reemerge. But if it's glass and she stays glass, maybe, because he even said bury these in separate
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, her atoms are somehow locked for a time, but he makes this point that, make sure that they can never reintegrate, and this is the idea that, he is the, because this is Banner's father, and this is the Banner's father persona, and that's why he's so evil. Which, okay. I mean, I'm going along with it. I like the story. I didn't like that they did such a quick shift with Hercules.
Yes.
It's like, you can't have Hercules just totally owning the Hulk in one scene, and then Hulk devising this master plan to just poison Hercules, and then just have Hercules go out like a light, Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense that, arsenic gas is going to, arsenic gas is going to kill him that fast. Because, I mean, like you said, you know how many people have tried to kill me? This is the first time anyone's like, what if we poisoned him? Now, technically, I would have liked it had they... So, for example, had they made a reference to Hydra blood or something from Mythos, because in truth, that is actually how Hercules does die. Mm-hmm. Is he is poisoned by the Hydra's blood, which were dipped in. Well, technically, he's poisoned by Hydra blood mixed with Centaur blood. So, something like that, if they had made a reference to that, I would have said, "Oh, that was clever." And when they first do that, I thought they were going to make a reference, and then they don't. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's that. Yeah. But I like the book. I really like where Maestro's going. I like it as a storyline. And I wonder if this is I wonder how long it's going to take before we get to Future Imperfect.
Yeah, I wonder, because, the next issue is the last issue of this, but I think they're doing another mini-series of this, so...
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're going to... In fact, as I went through the letters page, I didn't read the letters yet, but they make some kind of a reference to Old Man Logan Specifically, I think that someone is saying, is this the Old Man Logan universe? And I'm sure they said, no, this is the Imperfect universe. Old Man Logan is based off of the What If the Acts of Vengeance Worked universe.
Yep.
Yep. Because that's what it was happening there. Nobody calls it out, but it was clearly that's what they did. Villains who were from different groups attacked, and then they all won. Because apparently mutants are really susceptible to illusion.
That's the thing with Acts of Vengeance. Yeah, back then, what was that, like 89? It's like, people had like certain villains. They didn't fight other people's villains. Now, everyone just like battles everyone else's villains. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, but you do have, you would sometimes do it.
Yeah.
But like they said, that was the first time the Hulk and the Absorbing Man ever fought.
I don't think it was the first time, but it had been a while, mate. It was the first time he fought the Grey Hulk. Because he didn't recognize him, But
I guess maybe they fought on Secret Wars, but in Secret Wars.
It had been like a long time since they had encountered each other.
Yeah, that's right, actually. It was...
Yeah, because it wasn't new characters, it was, some of
them
it was just, I haven't seen you in years.
Yeah, it was, but it was people who didn't usually fight them. So they had fought in the past, but it wasn't, no one was really used to anybody else's style, but, doesn't always help unless, unless the Red Skull's running it, or maybe Loki just like went right up and said, look, guys, I'm Loki, I'm the god of mischief and lies, and I was going to manipulate you all into thinking this was your idea, but it's actually my idea, so do it my way so we win. Because all you guys are just going to wind up bickering and backbiting, and it's all going to end poorly for all of you.
And Doom was just completely distracted. He was trying to, steal Spider-Man's Captain Universe powers. Because Doom and stealing people's powers. He loves to do that.
Yeah. It's an odd hobby for him, to say the least.
The Silver Surfer, the Beyonder.
Speaking of Dr. Doom, I know you didn't read it.
Tell me about it.
But it is... And man, it is such a perfect Doctor Doom, because it is everything I said about why Infamous Iron Man did not work in the same way that Superior Spider-Man worked. Because, as it turns out, Doom and you really get this in this, because this is really just Doom's complete inferiority-superiority complex. where he is so in his own head all the time and he can't get out. He's locked in there with himself. Because it is this whole thing about, he has made the decision. He will be a hero now. His act of altruism to save the big moon base before the black hole eats everybody. And, and you have Richards here, he's like, no, I trust him. I do this. And I gotta say that Richards should have known better than to wish Doom luck. Okay, because essentially what happens, and during this whole time, he is making his plan. He's got his little Doom bots who are are just totally yes men.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a brilliant idea, sir. I agree 100%. Your logic is flawless as always. But when, Reed and Cap are talking, he makes Reed makes the point. It's like, I'm glad it's Doom doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was me there, to be honest with you, because I wish I could be there to help. But, I know he's like the one person who can do this. So that's a positive. But of course what happens is, and during this time he's making his plans, how after he saves the world, he is going to announce to the world that he is turning himself over for imprisonment. And he says, here are my suggestions for where you can imprison me. And he does the, I think there was one, he's going to put Victorious in charge of Latveria. And, he says they can send me to Blackgate, or they can send me to, where the Atlanteans would send their human prisoners, which is some island somewhere. Oh, yeah, right here. Or if they need to, they can lock me in the negative zone if they have to. They can put me in cryosleep, and I'll allow it. And the time will pass quickly in there. He is just such a delusional psychopath. And that's the thing. I actually think Doom is a psychopath. I do think that his sociopathology is not as definitive as his psychopathology. The fact that he actually sees his ability to control the universe way beyond what his actual ability to control the universe is. And this is the thing, and this is where he starts to decompensate when, everything starts and it's going well, and Reed just calls him after he started. So it's already started, it's on the way, and he's just saying, yep, everything looks good here. I'm just wishing you luck, old friend, So, why would I need luck? Everything is perfect. It's like, okay, yeah, it's just a thing. It's like, you're calling to gloat, or you're calling to screw me out. You're making me question myself. It's like, there's a flaw that you see that I don't. Is that what it is? It's like, no, there's no flaw I see. Everything looks great. You wouldn't call if everything looks great. Why would you buy that? And he just gets into his own head, and there's like, and you got that, rah, because he starts to decompensate, where then he's like talking to all of his Doom bots, and they say, how does everything look? Everything look good? He says, yes, everything looks good, sir. And they go back and forth, and then he just says, wait, okay, but if everything is good, he wants me to change the plan so that I will fail, and then he can gloat about my failure. But if it does fail, he will say, yes, see, he always failed. Then, and he goes into this whole thing. Oh, God, it is just so pathetic. And then, of course, he immediately starts, he wants to change, so he do it faster, put in more energy, do it this way. And then, when somebody says, but sir, everything is working fine. I don't know why, wrong hand. I don't know why we would do that. He just blows up his Doombot, which right there, that should have been his warning sign. Hey, I should take it back a step. And of course, when it all goes wrong, he says, it's all because of you, Richards! This is all because of him. And I'm sure that's not the end, because do remember that actual good Otto is on, not good Otto, but good Doom is on the other side of that paradox wall. So maybe he's going to come back and save the day. Ooh. And just say, well, no, I'm better than you because, I just don't. I don't live constantly in someone else's shadow in my own mind, dude. Dude, you need to be like Lebowski. Just let it go. Just go with the flow, man.
He's a narcissist, man. So, Richard says anything, it's about me.
Well, and again, he's a psychopathic narcissist, yes. Meaning that his narcissism is devoid from reality. But at the same time, he's or it's almost like it's so hard to define him, because at one level, I think he knows he's a psychopath, and I think it's an egocentric psychopathy that he has paranoia about. It's like, I know this is working. I am the smartest man alive. That can't possibly be right. No. And so that's that. Give me another. What book? Give me one of the books that you read.
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Oh God! Speaking of narcissists, and it's like, wow, what if Dr. Doom had no talent for science but was just as delusional? And I don't even know. So, but this is what confuses me in this. Mike Murdock knows Matt Murdock is Daredevil, right?
That's what I thought, but the way they wrote it here, it doesn't seem like unless he knows, but Matt doesn't know he knows, so he's playing dumb.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing is. Yeah, it's like, he knows, but he doesn't know he knows, and
because even that whole scene, he's like, "Oh, you got a problem with it? Take it up with my pill popping brother in rehab." Maybe that was him, no, and he's saying it right to Matt's face, but he can say it without letting Matt know he knows.
Yeah, and it is interesting to say the least. Yeah, it's weird, and then of course Tony Stark does apparently agree to buy up Hell's Kitchen for reasons that we don't know. And then when he fails, but it's not from the storm winds, it's someone else. And then as he goes to trial, it's revealed that it was Elektra, which and it is just this weird thing. And then he takes the deal, and what his deal is for second-degree manslaughter, which I think is a fair cop. The real question is going to be in sentencing, because it is possible on a second-degree manslaughter charge that he may not do time. Oh, it would be great. He could get an ankle monitor.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it says, no, you're under house arrest. You will return to a secret location that we will know of, but that, we will set you up in this apartment in Lower Manhattan, and you will have to live there. And then it just, and how he has to sneak out of that, who knows what they're going to do? So, but they show him behind bars on the cover of next issue, although that could also be misleading. So, or it just he's in holding or something.
He's under a gavel in this issue, so yeah, it could be kind of figured in.
Yeah, it's also possible that the judge is going to say, but I can't sit here. Because, and actually, when it comes down to it, is in sentencing, there's often a moment where people get to testify on your behalf. And so they could have people come in and, they could have freaking Captain America show up and say, I'm going to tell you this right now. He's a really great, he is a true hero, and, maybe we can find, I would request leniency for him based on his years of heroism and the times he saved the city and the people of it, So that kind of stuff can be very influential even on a judge. Especially a judge who wants to be... Actually, I don't know if judges are judges aren't elected in New York, so I don't believe. But still, there's still politics, even if you're not elected, because you may want to move up the ranks. You want to get to the Superior Court of New York, the Supreme Court, and all those kinds of things. Anyway, so yes. So I like Daredevil, though. That was good. Let's do Werewolf by Night next.
All right.
Werewolf by Night. This is interesting. We get a little more backstory on our character, Jake Gomez. He's fighting the cyber wolves, and he eventually does lose control, and he's like, "Oh no, I might lose control, and I don't know what I'll do if I lose control, because when the beast takes over, I'm afraid that I won't." I'll do something I regret. Good for him. The cyber will still just kick his butt. So much so that He actually does damage one, and with Cyberwolf actually starts getting his memory back, so that is bad. So the Cyberwolves have to hightail it out there. His friend Molly goes and gets the sheriff, but during the rainstorm they can't really navigate, and they're all worried about him. He does survive, and he gets left in the desert. So they don't actually take him with him, or he just escapes. He goes into his flight response. He escapes and he's bleeding out, but he says he won't die because none of the weapons were silver. And he gets his flashback to his origins with his dad, and him watching his dad beat up a guy, and then him first feeling the twinge of the monster within. They don't ever say if his father could transform or not, though we do see that the biker gang he is in are called Los Lobos, so who knows? Yes, Los Lobos are there. So,
I'm trying to remember. I think Jack Russell might have said his was like a family curse. So, I mean, it's possible. It might have been a family.
Yeah, well, they do actually do this whole thing here where they do this montage of the connections to all the werewolves and the two wolves and which you feed and yada, yada, yada. And you actually even see that there is this whole thing with Jack Russell and the pyramids and conquistadors and, some of the other versions of Werewolf by Night we've had over the years. But one of the things I see in this is he does meet up with Red Wolf, connects with him. Those who recall Red Wolf, one of my favorite characters is the 1892
yes.
Native American sheriff who took over from Sheriff Rogers in the town of Timely. We see the actual person behind the Life organization, who's this lady, who's got something going on with her. I don't know. She got face things. They call her Dr. Makowski. I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell to me either. Anyway, Red Wolf chases him down. The sun's going down, though, so he's about to turn into the werewolf. Red Wolf tells his friend, I hope your thing is ready to handle a werewolf. And so that's where we leave it. And next episode, they're going to face off, and we see Red Wolf going toe-to-toe with the werewolf. Ooh. So that should be fun. Want to do one more book and then call it a night?
Sure. You want to talk Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I enjoy this book. I do enjoy this book a lot. Was this the end of the book? I believe.
I think it was like a limited run, and that's usually their magic number now is 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked the fight between the Natural and Bucky and Sam.
Yeah.
I liked the female Supreme, Gwen Hydra. I liked Gwen Hydra saying, giving Order 66 for people to attack the other Hydra agents. And then, then basically it comes into this thing like, yeah, they're just going to follow whichever one of us, kills the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that, Gwen Hydra had a great upper hand on what's his name? What is his name?
Who, Zemo?
Zemo, yeah, Zemo. And, I guess my biggest problem with this is, when they do get into their fights and, at the end, I didn't think Zemo should have been able to go get a jetpack. Just sneak off and, I'm just going to grab my jetpack.
I know, just like Mandalorian himself out of there. I know.
Yeah, and it would be fine if it was like a secret jetpack that he had just in case. But he clearly just walks over to his car and puts on a jetpack.
I mean, he's strapping it on while he's saying it. Oh, hey, yeah. I guess you're not going to catch me today.
And not only that, can't Sam Wilson fly? Because you don't get away that easy. He's like, well, we'll get him next time, old chum. At least we've handled, Hydra Pool. So, Gwen Hydra. And the Natural. So, yeah. Anticlimactic. I would have really rather that Zemo had wound up in prison and was going to have to break out. Because it's not like Zemo can't break out of prisons. That is 90% of what he does. I am certain that Gwen Hydra is going to break out of prison too.
Yeah.
They will. These.
I mean, some of the dialogue from Zemo here, I mean, it didn't ring Zemo to me. Like when he's talking to the Natural, he's like, "No offense meant, kid. You're awesome." I'm like, Zemo doesn't use the word awesome, like like that.
Maybe it's not. Maybe Zemo really did die, and this is actually, Fred Zemo, his cousin. Just
yeah, but I mean, when he's strapping on that jetpack and he's monologuing, "Oh, we shall meet again, Mr. Barnes." It's like, okay, that's Zemo, but it's like not that. Oh, hey, kid, you're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of feel that they were kind of inconsistent with Zemo in this issue.
Yeah. They're trying to make him too funny in parts, and it's like, no, Zemo's supposed to be the straight man.
Yeah. And to be honest, it's I mean, I guess you could say he could use the term awesome because you have awesome power, Yeah. But it's like you have to read it in that voice. It's I think you are awesome. It's I don't know, but I just thought it was kind of funny, just the idea that he gets away in it with a jetpack and and they're just going to let that happen.
Or it's like, oh, I see you got a new hand. Oh yeah, I like it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, that was weird too, and
should have been more like, "You will pay for taking my hand."
Yes. Well, who took his hand? Wasn't that the Punisher who took his hand, or?
Oh yeah, it was the Punisher.
Yeah, I thought that was it. But yeah, then again, it's like one of these things. Like, can't Bucky just shoot his jetpack?
That's true. It's probably full of fuel. Well,
yeah, we saw that episode of we've all seen The Rocketeer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great things about this series. I like the Natural. I would have liked to have had more backstory with the Natural.
Yeah,
because I kind of feel like, okay, he's an MVP level kid, but we don't really have a reason for him to be an MVP level kid, except maybe he's a mutant kind of thing, or maybe he's got those photographic reflexes stuff. Maybe he is closer to what the Taskmaster is supposed to be, but it just feels like there was a lot we were missing in this, and I think they could have filled in those gaps a bit better.
Yeah, they did. I forget. Bucky had one series. It might have only lasted 5 or 6 issues, but there was another thing with him and a kid. So I mean,
yeah, and it's not the same kid.
No. Because
I can say, okay, maybe it's the same kid, and it's sort of like when they had the kid at the end of that, Steve Rogers Super Soldier run.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we'll just find someone who's had a life exactly like Steve Rogers, and we'll give him the Super Soldier Serum, and then he'll be like Steve Rogers, But he'll be Steve Rogers. Which should immediately strike them as, if he's Steve Rogers, then he's not going to be like Steve Rogers.
Exactly.
But, I think this is the kind of thing where I think that these are first appearances of characters that we may see more of as time goes on.
Hopefully.
At least that's my guess. Anyway, Philip, you know what people should do in this Christmas season? They should look up the gift list for the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
That's right.
Which will take them to all of the best gifts that we Capes and Lunatics affiliated people think they should have.
I put the list up for Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks today on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
So you should go there, and you should find all the gifts to give for your loved ones, or so that you know what to put in your Christmas list to put in your shoe for St. Nicholas on December 5th. We will come and pick up your Christmas list and leave you candy. If you don't do that, kids, you're kind of out of luck. But that's a trick. You gotta play the system. Get the list to him in his hand. That's how he knows. You just give it to one of those helpers, it's lost in the paperwork. But anyway, but yes, we use the Capes and Lunatics gift guide and the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks gift guide to find all the things. On that list may or may not be tweaked audio headsets, which are superior headsets that you can purchase just for yourself and tech with everybody else. Although they do make a great Christmas gift as well. Yep. Use the coupon code Southgate upon checkout to get a discount, and then use that same coupon code Southgate when you go over to Hunt-A-Killer, because you might want a game. You're stuck at home with everyone else in the coronavirus. Go solve a freaking murder mystery. It's fun for the whole family. Check out a Cold Case with Michelle Gray. It'll be great. And then, if none of that interests you, or if all of that interests you, and you still have more money to spend, just go to the show notes. Click on the Amazon link in our show notes. Go to Amazon.com. Buy whatever you want. I will say, if you're an ample American like me, check the weight limitations for anything you purchase. I've been having some disappointing days with that. And also, while you're there, something that has no weight limit, Pod Life the Book, the book written by and for podcasters on the Southgate Media Group. You can go pick that up, read it, learn why we do these crazy things. And you can get it in either a hard physical copy, if that's what you like, or get it in a digital copy, which is so much lighter. Or even maybe, in time, if we ever get around to it, an audiobook version so you can just listen to it on your tweaked audio headsets. And in the meantime, if anyone does any of that and they'd like to tell us about that, or just want to talk to us about comics and fan theories and what they like, how can they do that, Philip?
The easiest way is to email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And find links, like I said, to all our social media. You can find those holiday guides there. Everything's at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And, of course, if you'd like to write to me that old-fashioned email way the way our Moz and Paz once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet every Monday evening at 7 o'clock when I remember the DuckTales Woohoo reboot series. Come join me as we explore the Disney Afternooniverse at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE. Yes, SER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, dear listeners, you have come through once again for me. I hope I came through for you with a great show. Please join me again next week as we super connect once again. Good night.
Good night.
That's good. I have 4 books for Capes and Lunatics. 1 Marvel, 1 DC, and 2 independents. Well, if you count Archie as an independent. So I saved my Archie for you, Lilith.
Bring